Welcome back to Golden Blue Dude, everybody, and if you haven't already, please hit the like and subscribe button. What we do here is videos every single day, either college football or college basketball. We've already hit 5,000 subscribers, but we have a big goal of 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I know we can do it, but we can't do it without you. And don't forget about my I Am Golden Blue Dude or We Are Golden Blue Dude video clip that I want you to send to my email, because I think you guys deserve a video of your own. So all I want you to do is make a short clip of either I Am Golden Blue Dude, or you can be with your significant other or family and say we are Golden Blue Dude. So far, I've had a tremendous response, but I want to give as many people as possible the opportunity to send in their clip. I'll leave the email address in the description of this video. And conference realignment, it has been the talk of the town for the past, I don't know, half a year, something like that. And I've talked about college football realignment, but I was looking on the ESPN app, and really, conference realignment is hitting the basketball leagues the hardest. So today I wanted to talk about all the conference realignments that are going on in college basketball. First, here are the conferences that are not going through any realignment this year or next year, as of right now. First up is the ACC. I know, I've been doing videos where I've been saying the ACC and West Virginia are talking, and from what I know from my sources, they still are talking. But right now, nothing is announced, so they fall in the no realignment category right now. So for now, the ACC consists of Florida State, Miami, Florida, Duke, Notre Dame, Wake Forest, North Carolina, Louisville, Virginia, Boston College, Syracuse, Clemson, NC State, Virginia Tech, Pitt, and Georgia Tech. Next conference not going through any type of realignment anytime soon in basketball is the Big East. So they still consist of Providence, Villanova, UConn, Creighton, Marquette, Xavier, Seton Hall, St. John's, Butler, DePaul, and Georgetown. Great basketball league, by the way. The next conference staying as is for now is the Big Ten. So the Big Ten is still Michigan State, Wisconsin, Illinois, Ohio State, Rutgers, Purdue, Indiana, Iowa, Michigan, Penn State, Minnesota, Northwestern, Maryland, and Nebraska. On to the next conference, no realignment, the Big West. And the Big West consists of Cal State, Fullerton, Hawaii, UC Riverside, Long Beach State, UC Davis, CSU Bakersfield, UC Irvine, CSU Northridge, Cal Poly, UC San Diego, and UC Santa Barbara. Another league, no changes, is going to be the Horizon. Cleveland State, Oakland, Wright State, Purdue Fort Wayne, Detroit Mercy, Wisconsin Green Bay, IUPU, Wisconsin Milwaukee, Northern Kentucky, Robert Morris, Illinois Chicago, and Youngstown State. The Ivy is also staying as is for now. Princeton, Penn, Yale, Harvard, Cornell, Brown, Columbia, and Dartmouth. The MAC is staying the same for now as well. They have Toledo, Ohio, Akron, Buffalo, Kent State, Miami of Ohio, Northern Illinois, Bowling Green State, Ball State, Eastern Michigan, Central Michigan, and Western Michigan. The MEAC or Mid-Eastern Conference, they're staying the same. Morgan State, Norfolk State, Howard, Coppin State, UNC Central, Maryland Eastern Shore, South Carolina State, and Delaware State. The Mountain West, also no realignment going on. They still consist of Boise State, Wyoming, Colorado State, San Diego State, Nevada, Fresno State, UNLV, Air Force, Utah State, San Jose State, and New Mexico. The Northeast Conference, staying the same. Wagner, Bryant, Long Island, Mount St. Mary's, Merrimack, Sacred Heart, St. Francis, Brooklyn, Central Connecticut, and Farley-Dickinson. Pac-12 also staying the same, consisting of Arizona, UCLA, USC, Oregon, Washington, Stanford, Colorado, Washington State, Arizona State, Cal, Oregon State, and Utah. The Patriot League, they're also staying the same. They still have American, Army, Boston U, Bucknell, Colgate, Holy Cross, Lafayette, Lehigh, Loyola, Maryland, and Navy. The Southern Conference also staying the same. Chattanooga, the Citadel, East Tennessee State, Furman, Mercer, Sanford, UNC Greensboro, VMI, Western Carolina, and Wofford. Another conference staying the same, the Southwestern or the SWAC. Jackson State, Florida A&M, Alcorn State, Bethune-Cookman, Alabama State, Texas Southern, Mississippi Valley State, Southern, Alabama A&M, Prairie View, Arkansas Pine Bluff, and Grambling. And finally, the last conference that's staying as is the Summit League. They still have Denver, Kansas City, Omaha, North Dakota State, Oral Roberts, St. Thomas, South Dakota State, and Western Illinois. Now time for the conferences that are going through realignment. They're either losing members or gaining members or both. First up, the ASUN. The ASUN right now consists of Liberty, Kennesaw State, Jacksonville, Florida Gulf Coast, Stetson, North Florida, Jacksonville State, Bellarmine, Central Arkansas, Eastern Kentucky, Lipscomb, and North Alabama. They will be losing Liberty and Jacksonville State, but they will be gaining Austin Peay. So here's what the ASUN will look like. Austin Peay, Bellarmine, Central Arkansas, Eastern Kentucky, Florida Gulf Coast, Jacksonville, Kennesaw State, Lipscomb, North Alabama, North Florida, and Stetson. Next up, the American East. Right now, they consist of Vermont, Stony Brook, Binghamton, Hartford, New Hampshire, Albany, NJIT, UMass Lowell, and UMBC in Maine. So out of those, they will be losing Stony Brook and Hartford, but everybody else stays the same. So the American East is going to be really, really small. The AAC, the American Conference, they're going to go through a big change. They're going to lose a few and gain more than what they lose. So here's what the AAC looks like right now. Houston, SMU, Cincinnati, Temple, UCF, Tulane, Memphis, East Carolina, South Florida, Wichita State, and Tulsa. This is basketball. Remember that. They will be losing Houston, Cincinnati, and UCF to the Big 12. But they will be gaining Charlotte, FAU, North Texas, Rice, UTSA, and UAB from Conference USA. So the new AAC will look like this. Charlotte, East Carolina, FAU, Memphis, North Texas, Rice, SMU, South Florida, Temple, UTSA, Tulane, Tulsa, UAB, and Wichita State. That's not a bad basketball conference. Now on to the Atlantic 10. They actually don't lose anybody. They actually gain one member. So currently it looks like this. Davidson, St. Bonaventure, VCU, Dayton, Rhode Island, St. Louis, Richmond, George Mason, Fordham, George Washington, St. Joseph's, Duquesne, UMass, and LaSalle. They will be adding Loyola Chicago. On to the Big 12. A lot of changes here. They will lose some and they will gain some. Right now, the Big 12 looks like Kansas, Texas Tech, Baylor, TCU, Texas, Oklahoma State, West Virginia, Oklahoma, Iowa State, and Kansas State. They will be losing Texas and Oklahoma to the SEC, but they are also gaining BYU, Cincinnati, Houston, and UCF. So the Big 12 will look like this. Baylor, BYU, Cincinnati, Houston, Iowa State, Kansas, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, TCU, Texas Tech, UCF, and West Virginia. Next up on the menu, the Big Sky. Really, they just lose one team. That's it. They don't gain any back either. Right now, they have Weber State, Northern Colorado, Southern Utah, Montana State, Montana, Eastern Washington, Northern Arizona, Portland State, Sacramento State, Idaho State, and Idaho. They will be losing Southern Utah. Now on to the Big South. Same situation here. Losing a team, and that's it. So right now, they look like this. Longwood, North Carolina A&T, Campbell, Radford, Hampton, High Point, Winthrop, South Carolina Upstate, UNC Asheville, Gardner Webb, Charleston Southern, and Presbyterian. They are losing Hampton. So really not that big of a change for the Big Sky and the Big South. Now, some big changes for these next two. Big changes. First up, the CAA, otherwise known as the Colonial. Here's what they look like right now. UNC Wilmington, Delaware, Towson, Hofstra, James Madison, William & Mary, Drexel, Elon, College of Charleston, and Northeastern. They will be losing James Madison, but they will be gaining Hampton, Monmouth, and Stony Brook. So here's what the Colonial will look like after realignment. College of Charleston, Delaware, Elon, Hampton, Hofstra, Monmouth, Northeastern, Stony Brook, Towson, UNC Wilmington, William & Mary, and Drexel. So they'll actually be getting bigger. Next up, Conference USA. My gosh, they got gouged, but I mean, they're picking pieces from everywhere else, but the end result, I'm not liking it. So here's what Conference USA looks like right now. FAU, Middle Tennessee, Charlotte, Old Dominion, FIU, Western Kentucky, Marshall, UAB, Louisiana Tech, North Texas, Rice, UTEP, Southern Miss, and UTSA. Man, they're going to be losing FAU, Charlotte, Old Dominion, Marshall, UAB, North Texas, Rice, Southern Miss, and UTSA. That's 9 members. They were on the brink of extinction, but they went out and got a few pieces to at least still exist. They went out and got Jacksonville State, Liberty, New Mexico State, and Sam Houston. So here's what Conference USA will look like after realignment. FIU, Jacksonville State, Liberty, Louisiana Tech, Middle Tennessee, New Mexico State, Sam Houston, UTEP, and Western Kentucky. I'm still not impressed with that at all. It looks terrible. Now on to the Metro Atlantic. They're one of those conferences where they're just losing a team. Right now they look like Kansas, Fairfield, Iona, Manhattan, our East, Monmouth, Niagara, Quinnipiac, Riders, St. Peters, and Siena. They're just losing Monmouth. On to the Missouri Valley. The Missouri Valley will be losing a team, but they'll be gaining 2 teams. So here's what the Missouri Valley looks like right now. Bradley, Drake, Evansville, Illinois State, Indiana State, Loyola Chicago, Missouri State, Northern Iowa, Southern Illinois, and Valparaiso. So they're going to be losing Loyola Chicago, but they'll be gaining Belmont and Murray State. So here's what the Missouri Valley will look like after realignment. Belmont, Bradley, Drake, Evansville, Illinois State, Indiana State, Missouri State, Murray State, Northern Iowa, Southern Illinois, and Valparaiso. So a little bit of a difference there. Next up, the Ohio Valley. I think they lose more than what they gain. Here's what they look like right now. Austin Peay, Belmont, Eastern Illinois, Morehead State, Murray State, Southeast Missouri State, Southern Illinois, Evansville, Tennessee State, Tennessee Tech, UT Martin. So they're going to be losing Austin Peay, Belmont, and Murray State. But they'll be gaining Little Rock. So here's what they'll look like after realignment. Eastern Illinois, Little Rock, Morehead State, SIU, which is Southern Illinois, Evansville, Southeast Missouri State, Tennessee State, Tennessee Tech, and UT Martin. We've already been talking about the SEC, but I want to talk about them again because they are involved in this. Here's what the SEC looks like right now. Auburn, Kentucky, Texas A&M, Mississippi State, Alabama, Arkansas, Tennessee, Florida, LSU, South Carolina, Vanderbilt, Missouri, Ole Miss, and Georgia. Remember, we're talking about basketball right now. Auburn is at the top. They have a really good basketball team this year. So the SEC will be adding Oklahoma and Texas. Here's what the SEC will look like after realignment. Alabama, Arkansas, Auburn, Georgia, Kentucky, LSU, Florida, Mississippi State, Missouri, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, Texas A&M, and Vanderbilt. Now on to the Southland. They lose one and they get one. Here's what they look like right now. Houston Baptist, Incarnate Word, McNeese State, New Orleans, Nichols, Northwestern State, Southeast Louisiana, and Texas A&M CC, Corpus Christi. They're going to be losing Incarnate Word, but gaining Texas A&M Commerce. So only a slight difference there. Next up, the Sun Belt. Big changes for the Sun Belt. They're gonna look different. Right now, they have Arkansas State, Appalachian State, South Alabama, Troy, Texas State, Louisiana, Little Rock, Coastal Carolina, UL Monroe, Georgia Southern, Georgia State, and UT Arlington. Remember, we're talking about basketball, so they have Little Rock and UT Arlington in basketball right now. But they are losing Little Rock and Arlington in basketball. They're going to be gaining James Madison, Marshall, Old Dominion, and Southern Miss. So here's what the Sun Belt is going to look like. Appalachian State, Arkansas State, Coastal Carolina, Georgia Southern, Georgia State, James Madison, Louisiana, UL Monroe, Marshall, Old Dominion, South Alabama, Southern Miss, Texas State, and Troy. Completely different, and I like it. Next up, the West Coast, and really, they're just losing one team. But right now, here's what the West Coast looks like. Gonzaga, BYU, St. Mary's, San Diego, San Francisco, Loyola Marymount, Santa Clara, Portland Pacific, and Pepperdine. And the West Coast is just losing BYU. BYU going to the Big 12. Basically the same, but no BYU. And finally, the WAC. The WAC is going through some changes. It's going to look a little bit different. Here's what they look like right now. Abilene Christian, California Baptist, Chicago State, Dixie State, Grand Canyon, Lamar, New Mexico State, Sam Houston, Seattle, Stephen F. Austin, Tarleton State, UT Rio Grande Valley, and Utah Valley. They're going to be losing Chicago State, New Mexico State, and Sam Houston, but they're going to be gaining Incarnate Word, Southern Utah, and UT Arlington. And we have a name change. I'll get to that here in a second. So here's what the WAC is going to look like. Abilene Christian, California Baptist, Grand Canyon, Incarnate Word, Lamar, Seattle, Southern Utah, Stephen F. Austin, Tarleton State, UT Rio Grande Valley. Here's the name change. Dixie State is changing their name to Utah Tech, Utah Valley, and UT Arlington. So there you go. All the changes that's going to be happening in college basketball. They're going to be affected way more than college football. And you better believe that conference realignment is not done yet. Y'all let me know what you think about the changes. That's all I got for you for this show. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on my next show.